Let's start with that tiny, almost embarrassing moment. You're at a party, or a work lunch, or even a Zoom call. Someone says something, and everyone nods. You don't fully agree, but you nod too, because the alternative Chai, being the one who doesn't nod, feels like standing naked in a snowstorm. I know that feeling intimately. I used to think I was just being polite. But no, I was begging my brain to tell me, you're safe. You're one of them. That is the hunger for social identity. It is not shallow. It is survival. Thousands of years ago, if you got kicked out of your tribe, you died. No joke. So our brains are wired to treat rejection like physical pain. That is why we check our phones 100 times. We're just looking for a digital pat on the head that says, you exist to us. But here's where the plot twists. I spent years collecting friends like trophies, joining groups that didn't really fit, just to feel that warm buzz of way. And every time after the buzz faded, I felt emptier, like I was wearing a costume that didn't fit, but at least people were clapping. Sound familiar? You join a book club, but never read the book. You go to that fitness class just because your coworker goes. You agree to a vacation plan you can't afford because you don't want to be the buzzkill. And then you lie in bed, scrolling through their photos, wondering why you don't feel happy even though you're included. That is the identity crisis no one talks about. The group gives you a label, but it is the wrong size. So you shrink or stretch to fit. And in that process, you lose the map back to yourself. I remember the exact moment I cracked. I was at a dinner with a group I had chased for months. They were laughing about an inside joke. I laughed too, but my laugh sounded hollow, like a wooden spoon hitting a pot. And I thought, if I disappeared right now, would the conversation even pause? That was the most freeing and terrifying thought, because it forced me to ask, am I here for them, or am I here to feel real? So let me offer you something different. Not a solution, just a mirror. Belonging is not about being the same as everyone. It is about being different in a way that someone else says, I see you and I still stay. It is not a crowd that saves you. It is one or two people who catch your frequency, even when you're off-key. And if you don't have that yet, please don't panic. I spent a long time without mine, and I learned to be my own witness first. That's not a consolation prize. That's the foundation. Because when you know what your own voice sounds like, you stop needing the whole choir to validate your note. You can still want a group. We all do. That is human. But let the group be a place where you amplify, not erase. And if today you feel like you're on the outside, looking in, just breathe. You haven't failed. You're just in between tribes. And that space, it is actually where you get to pick your next family. Not out of desperation, but out of choice. And that is a whole different kind of belonging.